Next.
Urinary bladder.
Transitional epithelium. What type of tissue is it? Epithelial. Name of the tissue?
Transitional.
Transitional. Where would you find it?
Bladder.
Bladder.
I don't know a bladder.
Urinary bladder.
Urinary bladder, that's right. Urinary bladder. And the reason it's called transitional is that when the urinary bladder is empty, it'll be large like this, almost columnar sometimes. And when the urinary bladder fills with urine, then this tissue will begin to flatten, look a little bit more cuboidal, depending upon how much urine you have. And thus it would transition between those two shapes. That's why it was called transitional.
Is it physical pressure that causes it to do that?
It's the pressure of the urine. Okay, this is going to line the urinary bladder. This is the mucosa layer. It's inside.
Mucosa.
And it's the pressure of the fluid that will flatten the cells. Small intestine.
Small intestine. Small intestine.
Okay? Tunica serosa, tunica muscularis, tunica mucosa, muscularis mucosa, tunica mucosa. Did you get that?
Do it again.
You should know these terms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Tunica serosa, tunica muscularis, tunica submucosa, muscularis mucosa, tunica mucosa. Yeah, now you see it in real life. This is the GI tract, covering digestive system today. Here are the villi right here. See the projections? Here's your muscularis mucosa. The layer separates the mucosa layer from the submucosa. These are all Brunner's glands. See, these are all Brunner's glands right here. Here's your serosa, muscularis, submucosa, muscularis mucosa layer, and this is your mucosa layer. Here are your villi. Simple columnar cells, very long. And these areas down in here, crypts of Lieberkühn. Down in here. Crypts of Lieberkühn, located there. This is the duodenum or duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. Now we're going to go to the jejunum, which is the second part of the small intestine, jejunum. And here you can see the goblet cells. See the goblet cells? These are all goblet cells here, secreting mucus. Simple columnar. And then the third part of the small intestine is the ileum. And here in the ileum, you'll find specifically the Peyer's patches. These are the Peyer's patches here. You find them only in the ileum. Just like Brunner's glands are only found in the duodenum. Any questions on the small intestine?
show us the lesser magnification and comparison so that we know what we're looking at when we,
Comparison for what?
of the ilium, the duodenum, and the jejunum?
I'll never ask you to differentiate between the three.
Okay.
I'll ask you structures which are within it, but I won't ask you to differentiate between the three. Salivary glands.
Salivary glands.
This is parotid. Nice tightly packed purple cells. Parotid. Submandibular. Purple, but you can see tubules. They look like cross sections of tubules coming out at you. This is submandibular. Sublingual. Lots of white mucus glands. Little white flowers. Parotid. Nice tightly packed purple cells. Submandibular. They look like tubules. Purple. Sublingual. Lots of white mucus glands. Any questions? Ovary. Primary oocyte, chromosome count 2N. Here's your primary oocyte, chromosome count 2N, an immature egg. You can see this test would be much more difficult than the one you took yesterday. So, do not underestimate this exam. This is a Graafian follicle. This whole thing is a Graafian follicle. This whole structure right here, Graafian follicle. Within the Graafian follicle, see the Graafian follicle? All along here, all along there, like that. Within the Graafian follicle, you're going to have the secondary oocyte, chromosome count 1N. Surrounding that, on the outside, is the zona pellucida. Surrounding that are these cells called cumulus orifer cells. The secondary oocyte is floating in a fluid-filled antrum. The fluid-filled antrum is then surrounded by membrana granulosa cells that secrete estradiol or estrogen. And this layer right out here is called the theca, T-H-E-C-A. Make sure you add it onto your list. So, T-H-E-C-A. Okay, so the whole thing is a Graafian follicle consisting of a secondary oocyte, 1N, surrounded by a zona pellucida, surrounded by cells called cumulus orifer cells, floating in a fluid-filled antrum. Surrounding the antrum are membrana granulosa cells, about here, membrana granulosa cells that secrete estradiol, and then the outer layer CT of the Graafian follicle is called the theca.